All right, guys, back with you here on Thursday the 13th. We're looking at traditionals, and it was kind of a close. You guys were all over the board today, but Tesla squeaked it out with the win. Lots of interesting picks, but Tesla. So this is it's always interesting to take a look at Tesla. Now we've been through this a couple of times before, so we've had this sell-off since the last time we were looking at this. So this is a bit of a review on the prior count. But you can see, so off of our low, we were going 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're up for the 5, and we end up with a double top here up at the 5. So the stiff resistance up here, so we can see clearly this was, market was not okay with this up here, right? That was too much, and so we've got this little band up here. Now as we come down here, we're kind of, you can make a case we're doing something similar here, whether we want to include all of that. So just kind of, all of the, so sure, yeah, we break here, support here. So we holding, well, you'd want to get some sense of, now I've just wicked off the absolute low, so now I can just grab here. I don't have to pull off to the left all the time. And we're through the 50, we're in between. So if the one, so per the larger degree, let's see, we'd be, what do I want here? We'd be thinking about it this way. So from the low, candidate for the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Now let's get that up to, and what have we not used here? We'll go to blue. Okay, so we've got a candidate for a 1, 2 that's just gone in here, and we've got a potential pivot here. Now a little pretty good little bounce on it. Now, of course, note we're not to the golden zone yet. No, we don't need to be, but we're in the exact range of where we would anticipate the 2, between the 50 and the 618. So it's a contender, and we've got a pivot we can work with here. So if that's going to go, oh shit, can I do it? All right, so this would be all of this much higher, right? If we're going to get continuation and Tesla is going to continue to go. Well, let's see. So I guess you can get the broader sense of it. So from the pivot here, the first ABC, pretty clear, right? Then we've got this big X wave, and then an A, B, and C to finish it. So we get the WXY. It's pretty. There's a little bit of, we're just in this box here, because so really we had a secondary range here. So we had this range, and it was now upon breaking that. So coming back up, that will be resistance. So would not be surprising at all that if this is going to come up here and potentially as a one wave of this degree kick us back down. Now we're going to have to get through that for us to get a one wave going if this 2 is in. So know that's, of course, we can look at that and say that's going to be resistance to get through. Prior support now becomes the resistance. So let's go down to the 4-hour here. So is there any help here? Do we get any divergence? Not really, right? So big spike of selling here. So obviously this is going to, the broader market is going to be influencing how Tesla trades here. But as we look here, coming down here, looks like this would be your last stop here. So you'd be looking at this way. Oh, looks like you'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now that's way too big, of course. So let's get that. Put that in white. So so it's just a candidate, right? So we don't know for sure whether that's done, but we can kind of size it up and say, okay, if that's the 3. Well, here's the 23. It's a little bit. Hey, yeah, that's really. Let's see. Let's dig in there. It's not pretty coming down. It's very choppy. So do you have an impulse here? So this would have to be your 1, the 2, 1, 2. Now this 2. That's a bit gnarly in there. So it doesn't look like you've got an impulse in there. So you got a couple of possibilities here. So let's pull that off here. So this is, let me try, let me look at the 8-hour here. We get any clarification. So the 1, 2, the ABC is there in the 2. So we can just, it's a similar thing always. So this is a good way to start. So I've got the 1, 2. Okay, well, so I've got to at least make 100 to be a candidate for the 3rd. Here's the high probability zone, but I don't get a pivot here. So now I just start looking, going, okay, could that be the 3? Is that the 4? Could that be an extension of the 5? Well, overlap. So it can't be there. So can it be here? Well, if it's there, can I get an impulse in here? Well, it doesn't look like it. 1, 2. This would be the 4, no impulse. So the process of elimination, you have to create the possibility here that we've still got more downside here with this coming over here. Because if this is going to be finishing, if this is the A and this is the B, I'm coming down in a C, well, I don't have to have an impulse here. We can finish with a diagonal, but this is just, it doesn't look at this point like you got much to work with here. So if we anticipate that this is going to be resistance on the way back, so it's not, so as we just talked through that, not unreasonable to think that we might have a 4-5 still yet to come here. So if this is A, B going in, now right back to that prior resistance would set up the move down here towards the golden zone. Now then, we could probably dig, boy, it's mighty choppy on the way down, but that's 1, 2. You probably get it. 3, 4 down for the 5. So you'd be, if this is the 3 coming back to the 38 for the 4, not unreasonable anticipation. Let's pull back out here. So what would that do for us here? So it would clear up the, let's do one other thing just to get some sense of it. So length of the A projected from the B. So here, so that's kind of interesting. So we get the 1618 right, splitting the golden zone. Interesting. Right? So this looks like a reasonable candidate if this is going to push back down. So essentially just using the structure, using the Elliott count here to anticipate this is likely going to be resistance. Not just because it doesn't mean we can't get through it. It's not what I'm saying. But that's a reasonable area to look for resistance just based off of the structure of the market and the potential retrace. So if that's 1 and that's the 2, so I'm just pulling the length of the proposed 3 to the 4 is the 38, and I got an algo target 1618. I got a nice big cluster down here. And then I have more certainty. Oh, there's my impulse to finish that C. I don't hate it. And then you can make a case here that there's prior support. Thumbs trading view is a pain in the ass. So we got this kind of support down here. So if this is not going to hold, where next area we'd be looking for is, well, what happened prior, right? We saw some support down here. We're right at the golden zone, and we're right at the 1618, the length of the A projected from the B. So, well, so for me, I wouldn't short Tesla. It's just not a lot of people would. So if you were going to do that, I would do it in options, right? There's not a 240 to, it's not bad, 240 to 160. There's definitely a trade here. I'm on an 8-hour chart. So, but for me, I'd be waiting, right? I'd be waiting for that. Right? If I think I've got a 1 and I want to get it positioned for the 2, me personally, I don't want to dick around with the 4 to the 5 here right now. So if you like that and you looking for a swing trade, I think this is a reasonable place because the risk reward here, you could sell it at that resistance. So you'd be looking to be a seller here. Let's call it 246. Stop at 265 max. So I would do it with an option personally. So I wouldn't give it beyond that 50. But this little you could be tighter than that. Right? If it doesn't get a turn there, then perhaps you're going to have to revisit this swing down here, and we're not going to get the golden zone. I would anticipate, if I had to anticipate, that we're going to get the golden zone. So this would be, how many times are you going to get to do that with Tesla? So here, just out of curiosity here. All right, so here, interesting, right? So from this, if I'm right on it. From the 2 to the 3, well, we didn't quite make golden zone. Right? We split the difference. Well, here we've split the difference here. So there's certainly a real possibility that the low is in. But I think given what's happened here, now if this, can I do this? If this kicks through up here and we get through that 65, this particular analysis is incorrect, right? So if you were Oh, so if you were a seller here, if you did an option or bought a put or did a call spread, something along those lines where you got short delta, if this breaks up here, well, you want to bail on that trade because now it would look like the low is in here, and now you're looking for the next retrace to get positioned for, again, on the buy side. All right, get on the buy side. I wouldn't bet against Elon Musk. I like Elon, right? So I'm sitting here looking at that, going, oh, give me the 618. Again, that's all relative to this. Give me that nice confluence down here, right? We came down here before, rejected, pretty good move. We're going to come down here for this 2. I'm looking at the buy side. Even just the algo target, that would be buying in the 160 range. The algo target's at 480. Yeah, you could trade the 4 to the 5. Right, be careful doing it. Right, volatile stock and an expensive stock. Right, so I personally, I do it with options. But here, I can get long here. I can do it with options as well. There's a number of different ways we can do it here. But again, be disciplined about the stop. Right, you don't want to give this, no reason to do it. Right, either you get the technical turn there, or you wait for. Are we going to the 786? Something else happening. What's happening in the broader market? Right now, this looks like just a beautiful setup. All right, that's what I think, guys. Okay, there you go. All right, that'll do it for today.